They say betrayal feels like a knife. But sometimes the person you thought was weak learns how to sharpen that blade. And when life gives them the chance to strike back, they won't just rise, they'll rise higher than the one who cut them. This is the story of a woman who lost everything, only to take back far more than anyone expected. In the bustling city of Fremont Heights, 34-year-old Claire Dalton lived a life people envied. She had the kind of warm beauty people felt safe around: dark curly hair usually tied in a loose bun, expressive brown eyes, a soft smile that could calm anyone's storms. She taught elementary school kids and genuinely loved it. Her world was simple, gentle, predictable. Or so she believed. Her husband, Mark Dalton, was the opposite. At 35, he was sharply dressed, with gel-styled hair and a jawline sharpened more by ambition than genetics. He co-owned a rising logistics firm called Dalton Transit Solutions. He was smooth-talking, charming, and always too busy, the type of man who could look you in the eyes and lie without blinking. And then there was Sienna Hale, Claire's best friend since they were 12. Blonde hair, magazine cover smile, high heels even at home, and a personality that made people think she was everyone's best friend. She wasn't. And Claire was about to find out the hard way. It started small: canceled date nights, longer hours at the office, work trips that seemed to happen every other week. One evening, Claire entered their bedroom and saw Mark dressing up, nicely, for what he called a late meeting. She asked, "Since when do you wear cologne to meet your finance team?" He smiled as if she were a child asking a silly question. "Claire, it's called professionalism." But that cologne, the sandalwood one he wore only on anniversaries, wasn't professionalism. It was guilt. Still, Claire gave him the benefit of the doubt. She always did. She trusted easily, forgivingly, maybe too much. It was a Friday night, and the city outside Claire's apartment hummed with its usual energy: distant car horns, the faint bass of a nightclub down the street, and the soft glow of streetlights reflecting off wet pavement. Inside, the apartment was quiet, too quiet, and Claire sat curled up on the sofa, a blanket draped around her shoulders. Her phone rested on her lap, screen dark, while her thoughts raced. Mark had claimed he had a client emergency hours ago. Normally, Claire would have believed him without question. But tonight, a heavy unease pressed on her chest, something she couldn't shake. The suspicion had been building for weeks. It wasn't just the long hours or the canceled dinners, though those had piled up steadily. It was the subtle, strange patterns that gnawed at her. She had noticed him checking his phone nervously, ducking into another room when it rang. Texts would appear and disappear too quickly to read, and sometimes she'd catch him grinning at something on his screen before hastily hiding it. And then there were the casual mentions of Sienna, her best friend. Coffee, with Sienna, at odd hours, unexpected meetings he couldn't explain, fleeting smiles at a message she never got to see. It wasn't proof. Not yet. But it was enough to plant a seed of doubt deep in Claire's mind. Tonight, that seed had grown into something sharp, unrelenting. Mark wasn't answering his phone, and the client emergency excuse felt rehearsed, too smooth, too convenient. And because of the strange little patterns she had noticed over the past weeks, Claire's gut told her there was only one person who could possibly know where he really was. Her fingers shook as she dialed Sienna's number, each ring amplifying the anxiety in her chest. She had never called her best friend about her husband's whereabouts before, and it felt like stepping into forbidden territory, but the gnawing suspicion left her no choice. Sienna picked up after the second ring, her voice light, nervous, almost breathless. "Hey, Claire, what's up?" Claire kept her tone steady, though her stomach twisted. "Do you know where Mark is?" "He's not answering his phone, and you're the only one I can reach." There was a pause. Too long. "Oh, maybe he's still at the office?" Sienna replied, faltering, a note of unease in her voice. And then it came, a faint, intimate laugh layered beneath Sienna's words. Low, smooth, unmistakable. It was Mark's. Claire's heart sank. The puzzle pieces she had tried to ignore for months, all the missed dinners, the late nights, the little lies, snapped together in an instant. Her best friend. Her husband. Together. She didn't scream. She didn't cry. Not yet. She pressed the phone lightly to her ear, whispering a single quiet word, sharp and cutting. "Thanks, Sienna." And she hung up. The apartment suddenly felt unbearably heavy. The hum of the city outside, once comforting, now mocked her. The betrayal wasn't just about love, it was intimacy violated, trust weaponized. And yet, amid the shock and the pain, a strange clarity emerged. Sometimes the quietest reactions come from the deepest pain. Sometimes the sharpest realizations are whispered, not screamed. That night, the life Claire thought she knew fractured. The person she trusted most had chosen betrayal. But in that same silence, a seed of resolve took root, one that would change everything in ways neither Mark nor Sienna could imagine. 2 days later, Mark came home with news. They sat at the dining table. Claire's heart was a cracked glass waiting for the final tap. He sighed dramatically. "Claire, I need to be honest. I've fallen out of love." Her voice trembled. "With me?" "With us," he replied. "And I wasn't going to tell you yet, but Sienna and I—" There it was, the tap, the shattering, the fall, her best friend, her husband, together. Mark continued, arms folded confidently as if she should congratulate him. "Sienna understands me better. She gets my ambitions. It just happened." Claire stared at the man she married, wondering when he had become a stranger. Sienna didn't even have the courtesy to show up. Cowards rarely do. When he finished speaking, he stood as if done with a business meeting. "I'll prepare the divorce papers." Just like that. 12 years erased. For months, Claire barely recognized her own life. She moved into a tiny apartment, worked extra shifts at school, and built a new world from the ashes. She went to therapy. She picked up jogging. She cried harder than she ever had, but slowly something inside her hardened and sharpened. And then, an unexpected spark. Her old college acquaintance, Jordan Reyes, reached out to her. "Claire, I saw your post about moving. My firm is hiring project coordinators. You'd be perfect." Jordan worked at Logicor, one of the top logistics competitors of Mark's company. Claire hesitated. "I'm not from that industry. You have the intelligence, organization, and calm under pressure we need. We'll train you." It didn't feel like revenge. Not at first. It felt like opportunity. So she took it. Claire studied every night, learned supply chain management from scratch, took certifications, shadowed mentors, worked late, and volunteered for tasks others avoided. Within a year, she wasn't just competent, she was exceptional. Her boss, Eleanor Bishop, a no-nonsense executive with steel gray hair and sharper instincts, called her into her glass office one day. "Claire, we want to promote you. You're not just good, you're a game changer." Claire felt the first real warmth in years. But her past wasn't done with her yet. Logistics is a small world. Competitors watch each other closely. Rumors travel faster than trucks on a highway. One day in a meeting, a junior analyst whispered to a colleague, loud enough for Claire to hear, "Isn't she the woman Mark Dalton left for that influencer girl?" The comment cut deep, but it also fueled something inside her. She wasn't running from her past. She was going to use it. Mark and Sienna were living their dream. Or so it looked online. But behind the perfect Instagram photos, cracks spread like spider webs. Sienna wanted luxury, attention, and constant romance. Mark wanted admiration, obedience, and silence. Two narcissists don't feed each other, they drain each other. Their fairy tale dissolved in less than 2 years. But the real damage? Mark's company was collapsing. A series of bad deals, poor leadership, and internal conflict brought Dalton Transit Solutions to the brink of bankruptcy. Mark needed a miracle. He wasn't going to get one. Back at Logicor, Claire pitched an expansion strategy at a major board meeting. It was bold, risky, brilliant. And Eleanor loved it. "This could put us years ahead of competitors. Claire, prepare to lead the acquisition analysis team." "Acquisition?" Claire asked. Eleanor smirked. "Dalton Transit Solutions is drowning. We want it." Claire's heartbeat froze. Her ex-husband's company. The one he sacrificed her for. The one he believed she was never smart enough to understand. Eleanor continued, "We need someone who knows how they think. Someone driven and sharp." "That's you." Claire nodded slowly. Her past was no longer chasing her. It was kneeling in front of her. Negotiations began. Mark walked into the boardroom, thinner, stressed, eyes duller. He didn't recognize Claire at first. She wore a tailored charcoal blazer, neatly styled curls, confidence glowing like armor. Then he froze. His mouth opened, closed, opened again. "Claire?" She smiled politely, professionally. "Good afternoon, Mr. Dalton, let's begin." He swallowed. The tables had turned so violently the sound echoed in his soul. During the acquisition review, Claire asked precise questions. Why were these expenses misreported? Who approved this risky contract? What's your current debt-to-equity ratio? How do you intend to justify these losses? Mark fumbled through every answer. Sienna wasn't even present. Rumor was she had already left him for a fitness influencer. Mark visibly struggled to maintain composure. Seeing Claire at the head of the table hit deeper than any insult. She wasn't just successful. She was powerful. And he was the one falling apart. The board voted. Logicor would acquire Dalton Transit Solutions. And Claire? Eleanor walked into her office with a champagne bottle. You didn't just help us acquire them, you're going to run their operations division. You'll be effectively in charge of the entire company after the transition. Claire stared at her. Me? In charge of Dalton Transit? Claire? Eleanor smiled. You earned this. Claire didn't cry. She exhaled a deep, soul-cleansing breath. Her ex-husband once told her, "You'll never be a leader, Claire. You're too soft." Now she owned the throne he fell from. The night the deal went public, Mark showed up outside her apartment. Rain poured. He was soaked, broken, pathetic. "Claire, please," he begged. "You're destroying me." She opened the door just enough to speak, not enough to invite him into her world again. "I didn't destroy you, Mark. You did." He reached for her hand. She stepped back. "I made a mistake," he cried. "Sienna was using me. I should have stayed with you." Claire shook her head gently. "No, you should have valued me." "That's different." He sobbed. Actually sobbed. But Claire wasn't cruel. She didn't gloat. She didn't spit or scream. True revenge rarely requires venom. Sometimes the best revenge is indifference. She looked him in the eyes one last time and whispered, "I hope you heal. But you can't come with me." Then she closed the door. Softly. Finally. Forever. Over the next year, Dalton Transit Solutions transformed under her leadership. Employees who feared the collapse regained hope. Contracts returned. Efficiency skyrocketed. Claire became a respected name in the logistics world, not as Mark's ex-wife, but as the woman who rebuilt a sinking empire. One afternoon, Logicor's CEO called her into headquarters. "You've exceeded expectations," he said. "What do you think about becoming vice president of strategic operations?" Claire smiled. She had started this journey broken, abandoned, humiliated. Now she stood at the top of an industry her ex-husband once mocked her for not understanding. Life had come full circle. Not because she chased revenge, but because she chased growth. And in the end, growth is the sweetest revenge of all. This was Echoes of Revenge, where silence speaks louder than anger. And justice always echoes back. Like, comment, and subscribe for more stories where betrayal meets justice, and karma always finds its echo.